Hey Bougie click. Today, we're breaking down the myth of the rich, charming Adonis and exploring the often overlooked reality of wealthy, average-looking men. These aren't your Hollywood heartthrobs, but they're solid, stable, and successful. In this video, we'll discuss how to leverage strategy over fantasy and why being an average woman with confidence and substance can be a winning combination. Forget the unicorns of the dating pool, we're focusing on real opportunities and how to align your goals with reality. Hit that subscribe button for more insights on relationships and personal growth. Let's get into it.
I'ma make you a fan.
He's mid, but his money isn't. The average woman's guide to securing the bag. Society loves to glamorize the rich man fantasy. We see actors, athletes, and rappers plastered across billboards and timelines, dripping in charm, abs, and fast cars. But here's the reality check: they make up maybe 1% of wealthy men. The rest? They're accountants, investors, software engineers, and business owners who look like they got lost on their way to Old Navy. Most rich men walking around aren't Brad Pitt clones, they're regular, average guys with decent portfolios and questionable socks. Average men with impressive bank accounts. No six-pack. No movie star jawline. No seductive swagger. Just money and spreadsheets. Know your market. Let's skip the fantasy and talk strategy. Rich, handsome, charming men are the unicorns of the dating pool, rare, high maintenance, and almost always hunting for someone equally dazzling. But the majority of wealthy men aren't walking Armani ads. They're average in looks, wildly successful in business, and often lacking that magnetic spark. That's where opportunity meets realism. These men tend to be more open-minded, less focused on appearances, and genuinely interested in connection, admiration, and loyalty. This isn't about lowering standards. It's about choosing a dynamic that actually works. Wealthy, average-looking men are often overlooked and underestimated, but they offer the same thing as an attractive rich man does. The woman who embraces this reality instead of clinging to the fantasy of the billionaire heartthrob, she's not settling, she's securing the bag. Most rich men are just regular. Forget the Hollywood narrative. Most wealthy men aren't walking around with chiseled features and a room full of women hanging on their every word. They're the guy next door with a receding hairline and sensible shoes. They aren't charming because they don't have to be. Their wealth gives them access and influence that charisma usually earns. When your bank account is stacked, charm becomes optional. He's not magnetic, he's financially stable. Big difference. Most wealthy men fall into one of two buckets: the charming elites with sky-high standards, and the forgettable millionaires who fly under the radar but are just as financially loaded. The good news? You don't have to look like a supermodel or play psychic to attract the second kind. Average rich men have realistic game, not delusions. Most average wealthy men aren't out here thinking they'll pull a supermodel just because they got a few zeros in the bank. They know their strengths, and they know their limits. While broke men often come with loud egos and louder delusions, your regular rich guy tends to move in quiet confidence. He's aware that money increases options, sure, but it doesn't replace personality, looks, emotional maturity, or basic compatibility. He's not chasing fantasy. He's looking for someone who understands what he's building, not someone who's just impressed by the receipts. And because he's worked for what he has, he's cautious. He's not trying to get finessed by a woman who sees him as nothing more than a walking ATM. That realism makes him intentional. He's not asking if your waist is 24 inches, he's asking if you're emotionally grounded, drama-free, and loyal. He's tired of superficial games. He wants peace, not performance. So yes, the average rich man may not be on magazine covers, but he's grounded enough to choose a woman who brings depth, stability, and authenticity, not just aesthetics. He's got money, not magic. And he knows it. Average rich men aren't walking around thinking they're Prince Charming reincarnated. They know they've got assets, but they're also aware they lack that GQ cover model glow. That self-awareness makes them crave authenticity over admiration. They want someone who sees them, not just the lifestyle they can provide. They've experienced the weird energy, being treated like a trophy with a wallet attached. So, when a woman shows genuine interest in his personality, quirks, and values, that hits different. He's not looking for a hype woman to stroke his ego, he's looking for someone who actually likes his dry humor, his 3-hour rants about crypto, or his obsession with golf. That connection feels safe, real, grounded. This kind of man isn't asking for validation, he's asking for sincerity. Because when you lack charm or movie star looks, you learn quickly who's here for love and who's here for leverage. So, if you think your average looks disqualify you, think again. They may be the exact thing that makes you relatable, approachable, and trustworthy in his eyes. And let's be clear, when you treat a rich man like a person instead of a lifestyle provider, you become more valuable than anything money can buy. Money doesn't guarantee glamour. Just because he's rich doesn't mean he's interesting. A lot of men use wealth as a substitute for personality. The Rolex is loud because he's quiet. The car is flashy because he's forgettable. Wealth can create access to more, but it doesn't magically upgrade his face or personality. Most rich men aren't attracting women with swagger, they're attracting them with status. Wealth isn't sexy, it's strategic. Wealth isn't the same as charm. A man being rich doesn't automatically make him tall, smooth, or socially magnetic. In fact, many of the wealthiest men aren't conventionally attractive, emotionally captivating, or even interesting at first glance. They're engineers, contractors, business owners, tech nerds, dentists, accountants, real money, quiet faces. Rich men aren't all rappers, athletes, or actors with abs sculpted in marble. They're more likely to be the guy who quietly invested in vending machines or owns 5 car washes in 3 states. That's stability. That's leverage. And that's your lane. Average meets average, it's not an insult, it's reality. If he's average looking with a 401k that makes your head spin, guess what? He's going to pair with someone who reflects his reality. Not Instagram perfection. Not runway aesthetics. A woman who brings comfort, companionship, and maybe knows her way around a spreadsheet and a slow cooker. Most wealthy men are not hunting for supermodels. They want compatibility, respect, and peace, someone who won't drain them emotionally while they're out here securing generational wealth. The myth of the rich, charming Adonis. The trifecta of wealth, looks, and charisma in a single man is rare. The media loves to parade a few polished examples, but for most rich men, charm wasn't their ticket to the top, strategy, access, and timing were. Personality often got left at the networking event. And looks. Not exactly the cornerstone of finance empires. So, when women pine after this elusive unicorn, they're missing a crucial point. Most wealthy men are average, average looking, average socially, and often surprisingly pedestrian outside their portfolio. Standards, real versus imagined. The elite rich guy with the yacht, chiseled jawline, and political clout? He's picky, and he can be. He's got options, and he knows it. But the average rich man, sitting somewhere between decent golf handicap and owns 3 mid-size businesses, isn't fielding offers from supermodels daily. His standards are high until reality kicks in. And suddenly, a smart, confident, average woman becomes exactly what he didn't know he needed. Charm is optional, wealth isn't. Here's the harsh truth. Attractive, charming rich men rarely settle for average, because they don't have to. But when wealth is all a man really brings to the table, his standards are usually lower in other areas. That means your personality, ambition, and self-presentation become power plays. Self-worth is magnetic. Rich men who lack charm are often drawn to women who shine without them. Be interesting, he's got cash, but does he have taste? You become the upgrade he didn't know he needed. Don't oversell, he's not interviewing for a trophy, he's scanning for stability or status enhancement. Play your role with effortless grace, not desperation. Rich doesn't mean lucky in love. Money doesn't teach emotional intelligence. Many wealthy men, especially those who aren't naturally charismatic or attractive, struggle in the dating realm. You're not competing with their exes, you're competing with their insecurities. Give them comfort and mystery, be the woman who's unpredictable in the best way, he feels safe and challenged. Know his blind spots, if charm isn't his strength, guide him subtly. Teach without lecturing, elevate without flaunting. How an average woman can land a rich man without pretty privilege. Most rich men, especially those who built their wealth through tech, finance, or legacy family assets, are not walking Calvin Klein billboards. Charisma? Rare. Looks? Passable. Social finesse? Debatable. But what they do have is power, stability, and access. For a rich man with average looks, the fantasy of bagging a supermodel may exist, but reality sets in fast. He can't compete with celebrities, athletes, or luxury influencers. Which means an average woman, with substance, strategy, and self-worth, is already in the running. Let's talk about the women who could shut down a room with one glance. They're often courted by extremely attractive high-value men. So, she might pass on an unattractive wealthy man. Because she can wait. She can leverage her beauty for someone who checks all the boxes. This is where the average woman shines. She doesn't need perfection. She needs proximity, loyalty, and leverage. And that makes her far more accessible to the kind of rich men pretty women routinely overlook. Final word, be unapologetically strategic. This isn't about lowering standards, it's about knowing what matters. The average woman who understands psychology, social dynamics, and her own worth doesn't need pretty privilege. She needs presence. Getting a rich man isn't reserved for the elite few, it's a strategic alignment of beauty, confidence, and boundaries. Rich men don't always look for perfection. More often than not, they just want someone who makes them look better standing next to her. And there you have it, folks. Remember, securing the bag doesn't mean settling, it's about being strategic and understanding the dynamics at play. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more content on navigating relationships and personal growth. Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below, I'd love to hear your take on this topic. Until next time, stay savvy and keep shining. What do you think? Should average-looking women go after rich average-looking men? Let me know in the comments section. Stay bougie. Follow and support me. All links in bio. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Check description for more info. New episodes every day.